What is up, everybody? This is Anthony with VR365. What is going on? Today is April 18th. It is it just turned 2:01 p.m. here on the West Coast. What is going on? It is like summer out there. Here in Sacramento, it is straight up like summer right now. It's amazing it's beautiful. It's great. It's wonderful. The problem is when you have summer in mid-April, you know what's going to happen in mid-June. You know what's going to happen in mid-July. You know what's going to happen in August and September. It's going to be brutal. It is going to be absolutely brutal. Probably should get out of Sacramento, but oh well, I'm in Sacramento. That's where I'm at. That's what I got to deal with, and it is what it is. But it is very beautiful right now. It's a nice situation, so really enjoying that. Okay, so I did say it was April 18th, and it is 2:01 p.m. This is episode 155 of our show. Have been having a little bit of weirdness with YouTube. I don't know if you guys had problems seeing yesterday's video. Something weird happened with yesterday's video because, like, when I go to my channel, it doesn't even show it. But if I go to, like, a random search, I can find it. But I don't know what's going on with that. So something a little, every once in a while, it seems like when I'm stopping the episode, some kind of problem might happen when I stop the episode, and then something weird happens with it. Not sure what the deal is with that. But we got some stuff to get into today, so we probably should get things going and get things started off. And let's go ahead and start it off with we're going to go ahead and start it off with the sponsor of the day, if I can find it here. Somebody is paying for our episode, and let's go ahead and thank that person. Okay, so today's episode 155 of our show, has been sponsored by Patreon supporter Harry Skiggis. I'm assuming it's Skiggis, maybe Skiggis. Harry Skiggis. I'm going to just say Harry Skiggis. Thank you so much for your support, Harry. I really appreciate it. I like your image that you have, for your little Patreon thing. You guys have probably seen it on the show over the last couple of weeks. I'm trying to incorporate like recent Patreon supporters, recent PayPal donators, and I'm even adding a new thing where I'm going to highlight comments that have been made on different episodes of the show that I think are pretty good comments. So we're going to add that as well. I want to also highlight some new subscribers and then also some of VR Game rankings. And so all this stuff is going to be added. For example, if I were to switch over here, let's switch over to this scene over here. So this scene over here, this is like when I have a guest. And you can see over there on the right side, it says recent Patreon supporters. Avrit is a recent Patreon supporter. Jason Martino, a recent Patreon supporter. So this is something that I've been doing in the background a little bit here, trying to highlight people. And then like this says most wanted VR games, all platforms. This is the VR Game rankings, ranking of the most wanted games out there. No Man's Sky, number 1. By Hello Games, and it kind of cycles through. That list needs to be updated. I need to update a lot of extra stuff, but I'm going to start putting some interesting information in there, and eventually it's going to get to it where I'm going to have some quotes, some recent comments that we've had from YouTube commenters, so that's going to be cool. And I will continue to expand on that and try to include different things as far as that goes. But I did want to see if I'm staying in this window, I got to move my camera. So I'm going to go back to the other window, but we'll return back to that a little bit later. But I'm going to try to incorporate some different things like that. But absolutely, thank you so much, Harry Skiggis. Absolutely appreciate your support on Patreon, and it's been wonderful. Really like that. It's awesome. Okay, but another thing I wanted to say too, though, is yesterday, you guys might remember yesterday, I kind of was like crying about, I need some kind of PayPal donations or something, or I might quit. I might take my ball and go home. I was kind of crying about that a little bit yesterday, which I'm sorry about that. I don't mean to do that. I don't know how I got on that subject. But, anyways, you guys responded to it, or some of you guys responded to it, and I got a flurry of PayPal donations. And I am incredibly thankful for that. So I'm gonna pop up another window real quick here. Now, I haven't had time yet to okay, hold on, let's see. There we go. Okay, so now what I would do is these people like Chris Bell donated $40, Alan Harrington donated $20, Jerry Williams $5, Gregor Roethlisberger $20, Crazen Raisin $50. Incredible, right? And so what I'm going to do with all of these people is I will make up this little thing that has their name and it has the amount, and it's a recent PayPal donation. But it takes like 5 minutes for me to do that for all of those people, and that will be coming. I didn't have time to do that before this show, but I wanted to thank all of these people because that is huge. I mean, a major bump in donations yesterday. Really huge. I mean, $50 from Crazen Raisin. That is crazy. $50. I think actually $50 is like one of the biggest donations we've ever received at VR365. I do believe somebody else did donate $50 one time, but that is huge. That is absolutely huge. Chris Bell, $40. That's ridiculous. Gregor Roethlisberger, and I'm missing two little dots above, I think, the O there. Or it might be one of the other letters. I got to figure out, I don't know how to do that in like GIMP and stuff, how to get into all those little symbols that you put over the different letters. So apologies for that. But Gregor Roethlisberger, $20. Alan Harrington, longtime commenter of this show, Alan Harrington, kicked out $20. And he said, Alan Harrington was like, this $20 is coming from my Valve Index fund going to your Valve Index fund, which I thought was very funny. Jerry Williams, $5. And then we also got a brand new Patreon supporter, Sergio Landera Garcia. So the golfer is in the house. Now, I don't think it's the same guy. But yeah, lots of donations and stuff. Awesome. Absolutely appreciate that. And like I was saying, I will be making little things that will highlight all of this stuff, and they'll just automatically show up. For example, if we switch back over here, let's see what we're on. It's still doing most wanted VR games, all platforms. Okay, you know what? Let me get a different trailer on the screen just so we can get off of that. Let's find a different trailer to roll with. And let's see here. I'll just grab a rando trailer, detach. That's a pretty cool trailer. We'll throw that one on. Okay, so we have a different trailer in the background. But yeah, right now we're going through the most wanted VR games, all platforms. Population 1 is still out there. Asgard's Wrath, people are very excited about that. That's number 9 on our most wanted all platforms list. We're about to get to number 10. Blood and Truth coming on May 28th. London Studio for PlayStation VR. That one is exciting to be sure. Okay, so here's the comments. These are new comments. Chris Gould, Alex is great. Definitely have him on again. So this is recent YouTube comments. Ekin Hawk commented, love that Blade Runner game. Had multiple endings. Let's see what other comments we got here. Pseudo Soul commented, DCS goes into asynchronous space warp even on my 2080 Ti. While it works and looks great in my opinion, that went a little bit too fast. But anyway, you kind of get the idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be mixing in some of the better YouTube comments, some of the more interesting YouTube comments. I'm going to mix those in. PayPal supporters, Patreon supporters, rankings from VR Game Rankings. For example, Brandon Russell donated $5 not too long ago. So we'll be mixing this stuff in. Jerry Williams. There's Jerry Williams. I did do the $5 thing for him. I just didn't do everybody else yet. But that's something that we're going to add to this show. It won't always be on here. We're going to highlight, some recent Patreon supporters and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. I like that. So that is that. But let's go back over to our standard scene and let's get into some regular news. Actually, you know what? Before we do regular news, I do have a scheduling note. Okay, so tomorrow on Friday, this show is going to be 1 p.m. 1 p.m. tomorrow. So an hour earlier tomorrow on Friday. Saturday and Sunday, no show. Sorry, this show's going to be dark. No VR 365. Remember how I said VR 365? Gaming news and discussion 365 days a year. Give or take about 27 days. Well, 2 of those 27 days are coming up Saturday and Sunday. I will not be able to do shows on either of those 2 days. I'm not going to be in a place that's going to have internet that could do it. So just not going to do it. But I will be back on Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific time on Monday, April 22nd. So Saturday and Sunday, watch F Reality, check out some of Paradise Decay's videos, go check out some MRTV, check somebody else out. Maybe check out Play PSVR, check out some of their podcasts, which they do them on YouTube, by the way. I mean, you could watch the video versions of them, and very interesting, very entertaining. You can check that out, and I'll be back on Monday. Okay, so that takes care of all of our house cleaning issues. Now we can get into actual news stories. And so one of the biggest news stories that has been going on behind the scenes a little bit here is that basically, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bounce over to a website that is kind of crazy looking, but let's go ahead and check it out. So we're going to switch over to the Webby browser, and it doesn't look like I have chat popped out right on this page. Okay, so hold on a second. Let me pop the chat out. Must have not worked. Oh, there it is. It's showing up. Okay, now it's showing up. Okay, so we got it. Okay, so yeah, this is a website. It's called pocketgamer.biz. And one of the things that they're talking about here on pocketgamer.biz is that Oculus is staffing up for new augmented reality glasses. And we've heard about this a number of times before. We've been hearing that Facebook is very interested in AR. They're very interested in VR. Basically, the bottom line here, what's really going on with this? I can tell you what's really going on with this. The bottom line is Facebook, as a company, feels like, and Punk Zero says VR 338 Live. Pretty much, yeah. We're basically a daily show, but there's eventually going to, I'm eventually going to take a week off and go somewhere, but I'm actually planning on doing shows from remote locations. But this weekend, I'm not going to do it. I got family stuff going on. I'm just not going to be able to do it. So no show Saturday or Sunday. But basically what Facebook is doing here is they feel like they're not in a position of power with their platform. You think about the Facebook platform, what is it? It's an application that runs on your phone. It's a website that you can go to on your PC. But the problem for Facebook is they don't own how you get to them. They don't own how you get to their information, and that's a problem. That's a long-term problem that they have to deal with, and they want to figure out a way around that. Okay, and so they missed out on the smartphone era. Way behind the times on the smartphone era. They weren't really, that wasn't their play, and so their application that is on all these various smartphones, they're able to do a lot of things there, but they don't own the phone. And so they don't own the computer platform that it's running on. Same thing with Windows and the operating systems and all of that when you use Facebook on internet or whatever, right? And so one of the things that Facebook is going to want to do long term, one of the reasons that they're throwing so many billions, and it is billions with a B, they're throwing billions at this issue because they want to have a major stake in the next computing platform. And that's a really key thing for them, to have a major stake in whatever the next computing platform is. And the next computing platform is likely going to be AR. It's likely going to be AR, but VR is going to be a part of it as well. They've already invested heavily in VR, more than any other company on planet Earth, I'd have to imagine. But at the same time, they cannot put all their eggs in the VR basket, because AR, honestly, if you think about Facebook and you think what they're doing, AR actually kind of makes more sense for them as a company than VR does. But I guess Mark Zuckerberg, he probably got exposed to VR before he got exposed to AR and was blown away by what he saw in VR, and so he chased VR. But the truth of the matter is, AR is kind of even more important for Facebook in all likelihood. So that's where this story is leading. We've heard about this before. We've heard about hundreds of employees that have moved from one Facebook office to another, like a musical chairs thing, like hundreds of employees leaving Facebook Reality Labs and going into a special building that is off to the side that is 100% for AR. And so anyway, what are they saying here in this story? They're saying Facebook-owned virtual reality specialist Oculus is branching out and hiring for the development of new augmented reality glasses. And so they do have offices up in Seattle area as well, and that's where they're hiring a lot of these people. I think a lot of the AR people went up towards Seattle. A lot of the VR people, I think they're still in Menlo Park at like Facebook Reality Labs. Okay, so some of the job offerings they have: product designer, AR platform; product design prototyper, AR experiences; head of AR VR marketing strategy and operations. I better get my freaking application in, right? I could be the head of AR VR marketing. And it's funny, somebody responded, because I forget what episode, the episode when I went crazy about Vader Immortal and was like way out of control with my Vader Immortal rant. Somebody was like, Anthony, no, you should not be the marketing director of Oculus. That would be a terrible mistake. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I should send an application in. And this is at the Menlo Park, California branch. So I can just go ahead and commute, brah. I could do the 3.5-hour commute every day, brah. And, in a self-driving Tesla, brah. And it would be very awesome. But yeah, they're definitely getting involved in this. I mean, you go back into this story, you go down here, it says in January 2019, Business Insider reported that Facebook moved hundreds of staff from its Facebook Reality Labs research unit onto a team focused on developing a standalone AR product. One source claimed 400 people from the research team may have been put on the project, although Tara Randall, a Facebook representative, said, nah, it wasn't 400, maybe a few hundred. Okay, give or take a couple of hundred. But that is still a lot of people. They are very, very focused on this. They do not want to be on the outside looking in. That's pretty much what this is all about. None of these companies, this is the next great horse race, guys. It really is. It's going to be awesome to see how this entire thing plays itself out, because it really is the next great horse race here in terms of like, how is this thing going to end up working out? I'm looking for a different trailer to throw on here because we've been running the same trailer for too long, and I was trying to find something AR related. Okay, so this is AR, so I'll throw this on. Okay, so yeah, damn it. Of course it'd have to be the wrong size. Of course it's the wrong size, and I never resized it. Okay, this is Street Fighter. This is like a little Street Fighter thing that is running, I believe, on Magic Leap. And the thing about AR is they've got to get involved in this. There's no question about it. Google is going to be involved in this. Apple is going to be involved in this. Microsoft is going to be involved in this. Basically, anybody worth their salt in tech is going to be involved in this in some way, shape, or another, because no one wants to be on the outside looking in if we're talking about the next computing platform. And right now, the computing platform is basically smartphones. Smartphones have pretty much it's not even PC anymore. I use PC a lot. Like when I'm browsing internet websites, I want to be on an actual desktop. I don't like phones. I'm not a big fan of, I use my phone, I check things on my phone, but I'm not the guy that tries to do everything on his phone. You know those guys, and some of you may be those guys, and it's wonderful for you guys. Go ahead, do what you got to do. But for me, I want a goddamn keyboard. I want a full-size keyboard. I don't want to try to do on my phone. I need a damn keyboard. I want to see web pages full size. The idea of pulling out a little phone, looking down at my phone, trying to do things with my big awkward thumbs and fingers, it's not my idea of where this thing needs to go. All right. And so the next computing platform is not going to be us pulling something out of our pockets and looking at it like this all day long. That is not going to be what it's going to be. It's going to be on our heads. It's going to be glasses, and it's going to be augmented reality. And it's coming whether you like it or whether you don't. Now, there's arguments out there about whether or not anybody's going to give a damn about playing games, or is games going to be a VR thing? Well, here we're seeing how you could potentially play something like Street Fighter on your kitchen countertop there in augmented reality. And so there could be some fun things that could be done along with this as well, in addition to all the other things that are going to come with AR. You're at a shopping mall and you're at the airport, for example. You're at the airport, you're trying to figure out where the baggage claim is. We've already seen some of this with like AR Kit and all these other apps that are, Google has a new app, right, where it kind of guides you places, and it kind of shows a pattern on the floor, and you can just follow it right to your baggage claim or whatever you're going to have to do. Little names are going to be hovering over people, so you'll be at the Christmas party and you'll be like, damn, what's that girl's name again? I can't remember her name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Well, AR, bam, the name is just going to be floating right over her head. Probably her name, her freaking net worth, what kind of car she has, what kind of dog she has, the way she likes her coffee. It's going to be a weird world that we're going to go into, guys. It's going to be a weird world, and it's coming. It's absolutely coming. The only question is how long and how ubiquitous is it going to be? There's people out there that don't want to put anything on their head. They don't want to put clear glasses on their head. There's people that don't ever want to wear sunglasses. They don't wear any glasses at all. I don't wear glasses. I'll wear sunglasses, but I don't wear glasses on a regular basis. And I'm not really looking forward to walking around every day wearing glasses, but I got to imagine at a certain point, it's going to be so effing compelling to just have the glasses on and just receive notifications off in the distance, up in the corner, email from blah, 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 and one of the things I argued about too, I was talking about phones, and I was talking about, I want a keyboard. I want to be able to type, and I want to see web pages full screen. I don't want to see them on a little phone. I don't want a foldable phone that I open up. The crease, brah, the crease. I'm not about the crease. But when we go to AR, you could have a full-size web page that's just kind of floating right here. And you just turn and look at it, and it's full size. And then as far as a keyboard, you're going to have a keyboard that pops up, and you'll be able to type on a keyboard like full size style. I mean, it's going to take some time to get used to this kind of weirdness, but it's a hell of a lot better than trying to pull out a phone, trying to use a Bluetooth keyboard, all these kinds of things. So Facebook is very well aware of this. They're not going to be caught with their pants down. Neither is Microsoft, neither is Google, and Apple. Apple's going to protect the throne. You know that. I mean, Apple, see, the thing that Apple knows, they basically have dominated it. Okay, so Apple and Google have pretty much dominated the smartphone era of computing. And mostly Apple for the most part, but Google as well. They've dominated it, right? And everybody wants a piece of that, but see, the leaders like Apple and Google, they want to protect the throne. They don't want anybody else coming in. They know how hungry Microsoft is. They know that Facebook wants their own platform. They know that all these companies want to own their own platform and not be dependent on something else. And so everybody's gunning for this. This is going to be the ultimate horse race. Place your bets now. In fact, you know what? Question of the day, guys. Place your bets now. So let's go ahead and go to question of the day. And it's a great question of the day. And of course, I got to resize this because we screwed up with that last video. Okay, so hold on. This will allow me to resize it so we get back into the mix here. Okay, so question of the day, what horse are you betting on? Okay, are you betting on Google? Are you betting on Apple? Are you betting on Microsoft? Are you betting on Facebook? Are you betting on Sony? See, Sony, like there's other companies that are going to get involved with this as well. Samsung. Don't forget about Samsung, guys. Samsung doesn't have a computing platform per se, but they make a hell of a lot of phones. And if phones are going to die, Samsung is like, oh, hell no. If phones are going to die, we need to have the next thing that's going to... So Samsung's going to be in the mix as well. You can't forget all the different horses that are going to be... It's like the Kentucky Derby. There's going to be like 16, 17 horses that are lining up in the blocks. Apple is probably the odds-on favorite. Kevin says Apple. It's all about Apple all day long and twice on Sundays. So that's the question of the day. What horse are you putting your money on? And if you, HTC, person, HTC is who you're putting your money on. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. But if you are going to put your money on this horse, the bonus question is, you going to buy a little bit of stock? Are you going to buy a little bit of stock in this company, whatever company? What about Magic Leap, guys? What about Magic Leap? First movers advantage, y'all. Isn't the first mover advantage, isn't that worth something? Like, look at Yahoo. Look at how huge of a company Yahoo. Oh, that's right. Okay, first movers advantage doesn't always work out. Because don't you guys remember when I interviewed Chris Richardson, we had a lot of pictures that were scrolling across the screen that Chris Richardson provided. And one of the pictures was a box of OnLive. Does anybody remember that company OnLive? First movers advantage, y'all, didn't work out too well for them. They were the first mover in this entire streaming thing. And 15 years later, here comes Google Stadia. Okay, so first mover's advantage doesn't always help you. So Magic Leap, I mean, they're out there. They're trying to make it happen. They got a lot of billions that are helping them. Will it help them last long enough? That's really the $1 million question for Magic Leap. Do they have enough gas in the tank? Because they're going to be running on fumes if they can't figure out a way to sell hundreds of thousands, millions. They talked about it a long time ago. We're getting ready to build millions of devices. Well, they got to be able to sell millions of devices, you know, and it's not easy. It's not the easiest thing in the world. But yeah, this AR thing, it's happening whether you like it or not. Now, the good news for you AR haters, here's the great news for AR haters. This is not going to be a major issue. Like, you're going to be able to avoid AR for probably another 4 years. So that's the good news. So celebrate that. You can avoid AR for about 4 more years. You won't be able to avoid it after that. It'll be everywhere. You won't be able to look in the other direction. You'll have to deal with it. Okay, another story that we have today is Facebook is let's see, where do I have it? Facebook is working on, well, basically they're working on a AI assistant. Kind of like Alexa, kind of like Siri, kind of like all the different AI assistants that everybody's working on, right? And so one of the things we could go to here is I'm going to pop something else on the screen. Let's see, a video that I just grabbed. So this was also in the recent tested video. They talked about this as well. Speaking of Magic Leap, you know, here's Magic Leap. They have an AI character, assistant, something like that. Micah. That's Micah right there. Very weird looking, very creepy, very much uncanny valley to the next level. Absolutely no question about it. But Facebook looks at this stuff and they're like, hey, we need to have our own Micah. We need to have our own Alexa. We need to have our own Siri. And so they're currently working on that. They're currently building that. They have a team that is working on this, and the idea is it's going to work across all of their platforms. So the internet platform, the phone app platform. It's going to be across all Facebook products, but it's also going to be very much a major thing on their VR and AR products as well. And of course, when we're talking VR and AR, not only can you have a voice, you can have a disembodied voice, or you can have an embodied voice that is in a physical body like Micah, which is Magic Leap, which is what they're doing here. Do you guys remember back to, what was it? It was Project Milo. Do you guys remember back to the Xbox Kinect and Project Milo and Peter Molyneux and all that? And you wrote something on a piece of paper and then you held it up to connect, and there was a little boy that was in the screen. And it was a really weird E3 thing that happened a long time ago. It was I think it was Project Milo, and it was for the Xbox Kinect. And of course, we never got anything. Nothing ever came out of that. Eventually, we did get Cortana for Microsoft. Microsoft has Cortana, Amazon has Alexa, Apple has Siri, Everybody's got to make one of these things. And now that we have almost legitimate, real deal AI, it's going to get a lot more interesting. As we get more and more of these, and as the competition in this category heats up. And so you might be saying, well, why do I give a damn about this? And you might not give a damn, but I think in AR and VR, I think it's kind of compelling that, Micah doesn't talk. That's important. Main Fan says Micah doesn't talk. She just stands there and makes really weird, unsettling expressions in your face, is pretty much what Micah does. But the Facebook one is going to talk. Why don't I actually go to the actual story here, though? Instead of just talking out of my ass here, let's actually go to this story and figure out what's going on. So I'm going to switch back over here to the Webinal browser, and this is Facebook is developing an AI assistant for Oculus headsets. So which has the better ring to it? Hey, Oculus, or okay, Oculus. And they're asking because Facebook VR headsets could soon have an AI voice assistant of their own. Theoretically, such an assistant could give VR users hand-free control of the Oculus platform. Every existing and upcoming Oculus headset, Rift, Go, Quest, Rift S, they all feature a built-in microphone. And there's some cool aspects to this, because we think about Pass-Through Plus, for example. A lot of people want to get an Oculus Rift S because it has those five cameras on it. It's got the inside-out tracking. No more worrying about USB Initech cards. No more worrying about your USB overloading your motherboard, all these USB connections. No worries about running cables all over the place. A lot of people are excited about the Oculus Rift S. If you're a hardcore Oculus Rift guy and you want to stay in that Oculus Rift ecosystem, you're probably pretty excited about the Oculus Rift S. And one of the best features of it is Pass-Through Plus. But to get into Pass-Through Plus, you got to hit a couple of buttons to get it going. And you might be in the middle of something, you're playing something, and you just quickly want to have Pass-Through Plus activate. And so you could say, hey, Tatiana. I don't know it's always a female, right? It's always going to be a female. So I don't know what they're going to call their little female assistant that they're going to have. But I just made it up. Tatiana, okay? Hey, Tatiana, Pass-Through Plus. Bam. And then boom, it's on. Or, hey, Tatiana, Red Matter. Fire up Red Matter. Hey, Tatiana, send an email to blah, blah, blah. Hey, Tatiana, what time is it? Pacific time. Just General Standard Time, whatever. So they're going to do this. And so they're working to develop voice and AI assistant technologies that may work across their family of AR, VR products, including Portal. Oh yeah, they have something called Portal. I forgot about that. Oculus and future products, which is going to be their VR headset. Their AR headset. You guys are going to be shocked because at OC, is it OC6 that is coming up this year? I think it might be OC6. They might show off their AR headset at OC6. They really might do that. And I think a lot of you guys probably think this is much far off. No, dude, they are ramping up. Facebook does not want to, they don't want to be caught with their pants down. And same thing with Microsoft and a lot of these other companies. And they might actually rush out their initial AR products like 2 or 3 years before they're really ready for prime time, just out of the fear, an intense, powerful, all-consuming fear of Apple just lapping their ass, and being too behind Apple or being too behind Magic Leap or whatever, Google, etc. And so, yeah, like a lot of the titles for everything, it's AR and VR. And when they talk about this, it's the director of Ira Schneider. As spotted by The Verge, the team is being led by Ira Schneider, who holds the rather obvious title of Director AR VR at Facebook and Facebook Assistant at Facebook. So, Facebook Assistant could be the final name for the AI, or it could be an internal name, because the final name is Tatiana. I think we've all come to that realization, right? Okay, so anyway, we got this popping off. I don't know that it's going to be that big of a deal. What I'm more interested in than an actual AI assistant, I'm more interested in AI in the actual games. Like, how freaking awesome would it be if you were in Lone Echo 2 and you're talking with Olivia and you could hold actual genuine conversations with Olivia? Like, how freaking next level would that shit be? Unfortunately, that stuff is probably another 10 years away. So we got to wait on that. But that's coming as well. And if you guys want a sneak peek for what this stuff is like, check out this movie. It's called Her with Joaquin Phoenix. There's a movie called Her. Yeah, this movie right here. And let me tell you, this guy should have won or should have been nominated for some kind of award for this movie. Because goddamn, he did a fantastic job in this movie. I highly recommend this movie. It's kind of weird. It's kind of bizarre. This movie is very weird and very bizarre. But I also think it's pretty freaking spectacular how it's looking into the future of these AI assistants. And like they're exploring a future that might be like 15 years away, 20 years away, where people actually fall in love with freaking AI intelligences. And I know that sounds batshit insane, maybe right now to those of us here alive and well in the year 2019, the year of our Lord 2019. But another 20 years from now, it might not seem so crazy, guys. I'm telling you. In fact, I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast where he was talking to like this futurist guy, and they were talking about AI, and they were talking about sex bots, and they were talking about AI and the fear that we're going to get so addicted to these artificial intelligences that we're not going to be interested in human contact anymore. And we're going to kind of treat like real life humans like, get the F out of my way. I just want to get back home to my AI sex bot. And I know it sounds bizarre and it sounds like a scary Black Mirror episode, but dude, watch this movie. Watch this movie because see, the thing about these AI things that are going to be coming down the pipe about 15 years or so, is they're going to know you better than you know yourself. They're going to know you better than your wife knows you. They're going to know you better than your kids know you. They're going to know how to manipulate you in ways that you couldn't even fathom. It's going to be a scary-ass world. A scary-ass world. I don't even know what to say about this world. But let's go back to Upload VR. And let's get off of this and let's see, what else did I want to talk about today? Oh, you know what? We do have a new game to talk about. There is a new game that has been announced. There is no trailer, though. Okay, so diverging to a completely different topic here, we have a new game that is coming to VR platforms. It is called ACORN? Attack of the Squirrels? Okay, so I looked at this and I'm like, ACORN? ACORN? No, ACORN. ACORN is a new multiplayer VR game from the makers of Angry Birds VR. And so we can go to the actual webpage. This is Resolution Games. And how serendipitous is it that I was just talking about Resolution Games yesterday? We were just talking about their game Bait, which has done very, very well. They're bringing Bait to the Oculus Quest. and it's already on the go. It's a free app. You could download it on the Oculus Go. So check that out if you haven't checked it out already. It's one of the most popular VR games. It's one of the most widely downloaded VR games out there. Bait, a fishing game. Of course, they did Angry Birds VR, Isle of Pigs. They did that for Rovio. They were, the porter for that, and they brought it to Magic Leap. They did the special AR version of that for Magic Leap. Then it hit Vive, Rift, etc. Recently hit PlayStation VR. It's coming to Oculus Quest. Well, this is another game they're working on. It's called ACORN, I guess. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm just going to say ACORN. And it says, ACORN is expected to launch across several major VR platforms and both iOS and Android devices this summer. Through the magic of VR, one player becomes a large ancient tree that is the sole protector of the seeds of life, the golden acorns, while the players on mobile take on identities of a gang of rebellious squirrels that band together to strategize on how to best scurry around getting as many nuts as they can. The game will come with multiple levels depicting different nature environments and several characters with various roles for players to become. So this is going to be a multiplayer game that is going to work across AR, I don't know about AR, but VR headsets, and then also mobile platforms as well. So kind of a shared experience. We kind of saw that already with Covert, where you had somebody on an Oculus Go and then you had somebody on their phone helping them out. I believe Covert's coming to the Quest as well. And ACORN, Attack of the Squirrels, is likely to be coming to the Quest also. Because one of the things they mentioned here is, I think Upload VR says they were talking to Resolution Games about different Quest games, and they said that they have a number. They're working on a few projects for Quest, so it's very possible ACORN is one of these projects. Whenever I think of ACORN, I keep thinking of the Key and Peele guy that says, Aaron, the teacher that they do, the Key and Peele skit where he's like a substitute teacher and he's talking to everybody as Aaron instead of, he calls everybody like weird ass names. When I think of ACORN, I think, why is this like ACORN? Why isn't it called ACORN? Why is it called ACORN? ACORN Attack of the Squirrels. So anyway, that is a new game that is coming from Resolution Games. And these guys are busy beavers, man. They are really banging stuff out on a regular basis. Okay, speaking of banging stuff out on a regular basis, one of the things we like to take a look at pretty much every single day is the Oculus Daily Deal. And it disappeared for a couple of days. We were wondering what the hell was going on. I was starting to think, maybe there's going to be dramatic changes to the Oculus website. Everything's going to be switched around because Oculus Quest is coming. So, they got to make room for the new heat. But not really the case. I guess just Daily Deal kind of went away for a couple of days, but now it is back. What is today's Daily Deal? Pretty much a banger of a banger. Edge of Nowhere is the Daily Deal today, and you can grab it for a 10 spot. That is a pretty good deal. It is 50% off. The price normally is $20. This used to be priced way high. I think this used to be $39.99 for a long time, right? I believe this was $40 for a long time. Even years after it had been available, it was still $40. They finally dropped it, finally chopped the price in half down to $20, which made it a lot more reasonable, but now it's even more reasonable. So if you've never played Edge of Nowhere, if you have an Oculus Rift, might be a game to consider. Also, another thing to consider as well, maybe this gets ported to the Oculus Quest. This is a game, I don't know, maybe it could run on the Oculus Quest, so you might get some cross-buy love out of this, but there's a little over 9 hours left in this deal, 9 hours and 15 minutes, and you can grab Edge of Nowhere. This is a game I need to go back to, because you know what? I checked this game out briefly. I was kind of surprised at how much of a horror vibe this game has. It's very horror-like. And there are these spider things that are in this game that are creepy and crawly. But luckily, they don't look like real spiders. They look like some kind of weird alien spiders. And so I'm able to deal with it. But it's still very creepy, and it's still very scary and spooky. And it's an interesting kind of a game. Reminds me a little bit of like an Uncharted, Tomb Raider, kind of over a guy's shoulder kind of a game, action adventure kind of a game. Very early. I mean, this was one of the very first VR games we got, right? Let's see, release date? Yeah, June 6, 2016, man. This is almost 3 years old. It's still 9 gigs, takes up a lot of space. But that's Edge of Nowhere. Maybe worth a look if you do have an Oculus Rift that you can run that game on. Definitely worth taking a look. Okay, so let's see. Those are the major stories I have basically for today's show. But one thing I did think might be kind of enjoyable is to take a look at some of the upcoming VR games that are coming to Steam, because we haven't really checked this out in a long time. We haven't really considered the release window for games coming, especially to PC VR platforms, because so far in this month of April, it's been mostly a PlayStation VR month. Like, this has really been a heavy PlayStation VR month. We got Falcon Age, we got Ghost Giant, that game, the Immortal, the something Cypher Wifer. That game is out. I didn't even know that game is out. Haven't heard anything about that game yet. We've also got, Jupiter and Mars is coming up really soon. So it's a real PlayStation VR heavy month. What about PC VR, man? What about all of us with our Vives and our Rifts and everything? What the hell are we doing this month? The only thing we really got, Vacation Simulator. And since then, hasn't been a lot going on. So I thought maybe we could take a quick look at the upcoming games. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh this. This is the upcoming games list. And unfortunately, dates are hard to come by. But you know what? The first game on this list is a banger of a banger. It is called The Rig. Do you guys remember this one? This is a game I highlighted a while ago. Now, the thing is, it says spring 2019. It said spring 2019 for a long time. The developer is Sunset Division. I was hoping to see this game at GDC, because these guys are based in San Fran. And I thought maybe Sunset Division might be showing The Rig off at GDC. I mean, I didn't look everywhere, so maybe they were there, but I didn't see them. And the spring date hasn't changed. We're starting to kind of run out of spring a little bit, but The Rig, this is easily one of my more wanted VR games. Like, I would probably put this in my top 30 most wanted VR games, and there's a lot of great VR games that are coming. So for this to be in the top 30, not too bad. I think it looks really interesting, looks really cool. Let's see what some folks are talking about in chat, though. I haven't really involved chat today. That's a little mistake that I've made here. Let's see. Let me get my chat in the right spot. Okay, because Kevgrit is talking about Immortal Jade Cypher, and he says, Immortal Jade Cypher, it's a bad game that I can't stop playing. Yeah, what do they call those? Guilty pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure, Kevgret. Okay, so Immortal Jade Cypher is a guilty pleasure. Bullet Ape says Edge of Nowhere is a must buy for $10. You gotta be crazy if you don't buy Edge of Nowhere. Although I don't know if it's a must buy if you don't have a Rift, because playing it, see, the thing about Edge of Nowhere, I tried playing this in Revive, and I don't know if they've ever fixed it. Maybe they fixed it, or maybe Revive fixed it, but there was a problem with flashing. Like, you would get this weird flashing thing that was in the background for Edge of Nowhere. But yeah, if you've got an Oculus Rift, it pretty much is a must buy. It really is. Ken L66 says, hey, Zucker. I'm not sure who he's talking to. Maybe Zuckerberg is watching the show live. Zucker tunes in every day, one of our biggest fans. Let's see. And I'm just trying to see some. iPete2 says, check out the movie Simone, Al Pacino. I wonder if maybe that's a little bit similar to Her with Joaquin Phoenix. I really like that movie, Her, Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, there's definitely some really weird parts to it that make you think, I don't know. But I also think it's good enough that you want to check it out. Yes, a bunch of people keep saying, hey, Zuck. Adam says, hey, Zuck. I don't know why people are talking about Zuck, but oh well. Let's see. My VR experience came out today. That's iPete2. Paradise Decay says, hit that like button, folks. That's always a good idea. Absolutely. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, and then hit the donate button. No. Okay, so anyway, The Rig is one of the games that we're hyped on. And it's at the top of the list, but we don't have a date for this. I would love to see this game just show up any day. Okay, now we got Sexy Miss. Okay, no, I'm not going to click on that. Do not bait me into clicking. Okay, wait a minute, guys. Let's talk about titles, right? Let's talk about logos. Okay, so if you're going to come out with a game on a VR platform like Steam, you want to have an awesome logo, right? Okay, so the developers of Sexy Miss said, okay, let's create an awesome logo. What are we going to do here? What are we going to do with our logo? I know. How about just a pink background? And how about a very boring font in white that simply says Sexy Miss? Yeah, that's perfect. That is absolutely, look at this freaking logo. Like, spend more than 2 minutes making your logo. And Cyber City didn't do much better. Cyber City looks kind of cool, though, just looking at some of these images. But yeah, I mean, Cyber City, okay, so let's take a look at this. Cyber City, it is coming on April 19th, which is tomorrow. So this is unlocking in 1 day and 8 hours. Cyber City, don't know anything about this, never heard about this. Cyber Realistic VR is the developer. Let me go ahead and click on the name of the developer just to see. Yeah, not seeing another game. So Cyber City, they did one better. They said, you know what, Sexy Miss is nice, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw Cyber City on a black background, but we're going to have some backlighting, like a drop shadow behind it. Yeah, we're going to one-up Sexy Miss, and we're going to have an even better logo. But you know what? Speaking of like Blade Runner and speaking of cyberpunk and all of that, some of these images kind of look a little Blade Runner, a little cyberpunky. Let's see some of these. But then you look at this and you're like, okay, is this the actual game that you play right here? This is the actual game. And those screenshots have nothing to do with the game. I don't know. I have no idea what this game is. It came out of the blue. But yeah, it's always fun. I mean, that looks kind of cool. You'd be like, oh, yeah, cyberpunky, brah. Looks a little cyberpunky. But basically, I mean, is there anything else to this game? So it says, wear a VR headset and immerse yourself in the world of the future. Cyber City is an experience where the player moves around the city and needs to find the keys to open the next location. The last location leads to a spaceship that will allow you to escape from the city. Featured City of the Future, unique music, high-quality 3D models, game designed for virtual reality with full support of room scale, puzzles. All right, yeah, I don't know. I mean, these shots look good. These shots, not so much. And I have a feeling that this is the majority of the game. So anyway, Cyber City, you know, there's always some weird stuff. You just never know what you're going to find here in the upcoming games. Okay, home plate baseball. I've been talking about baseball for a long time, and I've thought, wouldn't it be awesome if we could have a legitimate frickin' baseball game? And it looks like we're still waiting, guys. This looks like another home run derby. That other baseball game came out not too long ago. This is coming on April 23rd. Beep to beep, beep to bleep. I'm sorry, beep to bleep. Home Plate Baseball is a baseball simulator and minigame collection. Yay! Normal 3-inning baseball game. 3 strikes to an out, 3 outs to an inning. If you get 4 balls, you get a walk. So I guess they have the basics of baseball down here. They do have a glove. The graphics look like straight out of Super Nintendo. I mean, come on, step up your graphical game a little bit. The background there looks like Turbo Graphics. I played games on the Turbo Graphics that had more freaking graphics than that. But that is Home Plate Baseball. Will we ever get a decent baseball game? I don't know. I think it'll be a couple years from now. Okay, Gadgeteer. Remember this game? This game is coming up on April 23rd. This game actually looks kind of cool. Like, the trailer is actually kind of interesting. Metanaut is the developer. It's definitely a puzzly ass puzzle game. It's kind of like you're connecting all these different things together. But it does have, it just seems like it's a bit of a better design than a lot of the crap that we're seeing on here. So this is coming up soon, so that's kind of interesting. That's on the 23rd of the month. Okay, Trench Run VR. This is a game that MameFan has in his most wanted games list, or a game that he's kind of watching, keeping his eye on. Star Wars, was just, dude, they missed an opportunity. Trench Run VR should have came out the day after the whole Vader Immortal thing happened, or maybe 2 days later, the Star Wars celebration. There was a lot of opportunity for Trench Run VR to have a pretty big explosion of a launch. Lucid Pixel, they're still working on it. They're adding controller and HOTAS support. Hot ass, as Steve likes to call it. So Trench Run VR by Lucid Pixel, that is coming in the not too distant future. Okay, here's a game that I saw and I was like, oh shit, here we go. Insect Revolution, brah. Insect Revolution. And look at this. You're talking about spiders? These are some weird looking spiders. I don't know what this is going to do to my brain if I get inside this. Bugs, man, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of insects. They're the worst scenario I could ever possibly imagine is the freaking Starship Troopers scenario, okay? Being attacked by freaking bugs, giant ass insects. Nothing scares me more. Oh my God, thank God, thank the Lord above that insects are relatively small. Because if you had spiders the size of I'm looking around for my cat, she's not in here. But if you had spiders the size of an average house cat or a freaking Rottweiler, I think I would have to just kill myself. I don't know that I could go on existing. This scares the daylights out of me. Just bugs. I'm not a fan of bugs. Look at giant spiders, smaller ones. I don't know, man. Flying things kind of irritate me. I'm not as bothered by the flying ones. It's the creepy crawlies that do it for me. Okay, and Paradise Decay says... let me see what Paradise Decay says. I've seen these spiders before. This is an asset flip. Don't get caught up in the asset flips. But you know what? I will say this for Pablo Farias Navarro. He at least made a decent freaking logo. Like that Insect Revolution logo. Kind of decent, brah. Kind of decent. And this is coming out on the 23rd. And Paradise Decay, he loves these games. So you can absolutely expect a full-blown event. There's going to be an event on Paradise Decay's channel. Right, Paradise? Insect Revolution? This is going to be a major event for you on April 23rd. You're not going into Orbis VR Reborn. You're going into Insect Revolution VR all damn day. And no, I kind of want to get a key for that. I should probably reach out to those guys, see if I can get a key. Especially considering how scared I am of bugs and things. Okay, Pros Enlightenment. If you guys were wondering what the hell is the background image for today's episode, well, you know what? I looked at this Steam page for Pros Enlightenment. And I looked at this screenshot and I was like, that's a pretty dope screenshot. And then I started clicking through and I was like, okay, maybe not that one. It's a little bit busy. And then I thought, oh, here's a Winter Wonderland. That looks kind of good. And then I was like, that's kind of dark. And oh, that's pretty cool. The Northern Lights and shit. That looks pretty sweet. I clicked one more. I was like, kind of boring. And then I was like, oh, that's dope. Look at the faded background of it. This is my screenshot for today, guys. This is the process I go through. Oh, damn, this is even doper. I should have used this one for my background. That's even doper. But yeah, Pros Enlightenment, graphics look great. The graphics on the screenshots look great. They got a date now. April 25th apparently is the date. So Pros Enlightenment, could this be... Like, look at that. Look at the graphics of this. You're telling me that this is not a AAA game that is going to blow everybody away and rise up the charts? Well, the problem is if you played the demo They had a demo for it wasn't Pros Enlightenment, it was just Pros or something at the time. They had a demo for this. Wasn't that good. Was not that good. But looking at the screenshots, I mean, this does look like it might be kind of cool. So, I'm hopeful. I mean, graphically, it looks pretty dope. So that's Pros Enlightenment. So we'll have to see how good that might be. So we do got some games that are coming in the back half of this month of April. We got a number of games that are going on. Virtual Battlegrounds. This one, Cyber Dream. Hey, what happened to this? This had a date on it, and I guess they changed their mind. Because I remember this trailer. We've seen this trailer before. It's got some good music and stuff. I remember this trailer. Yeah, so Virtual Battleground. It's funny, man. You can just spend a lot of time just looking at upcoming games on Steam. Okay, here's another freaking rhythm action game. We've got a million of them. But those puppies keep on coming. Let's see. But see, you never... Oh, Zed. What about Zed? What about Zed? Okay, Zed still says spring 2019. This is by Igra Games. It's being published by Cyan Ventures. Don't you guys remember the awesome-ass trailer that this game had? It's like you're losing your memory. It's kind of like... this game kind of bothers me a little bit just from the whole memory thing because my family, my mom, she's got it. That looks dope, though. I've used this as one of my backgrounds. This screenshot right here, that was one of my backgrounds one time because it is a really dope background. I like the look of that. But yeah, Zed is going to be coming in spring. I mean, spring is nebulous. Like, what is spring? We've been asking that question on the Oculus Quest subreddit. In fact, some people, you might even say, they're literally going crazy over there. Yeah, the people on the Oculus Quest subreddit, I think we need to hire some psychologists to help these people out because they're having some serious problems over there. It's funny. It's really funny. The Lighthouse VR, Escape the Room. This is by Shadow Knight Studio. We don't got a date for this, but this is an upcoming game. But yeah, you could just dude, I could just get on here one day and be like, okay, I have no stories. I have no news topics, but all we're going to do is go through every one of these games. We're going to talk shit about logos. We're going to click on things and we're going to figure stuff out. And I could do an entire show about that. Okay, Stay Silent. I know some people are getting some keys for this, like beta keys and stuff. This is by NetEase Games, and it's kind of the Wild West, which looks kind of cool. I mean, think about it. We haven't really had a bomb-ass Wild West game in VR, so that would be cool. I don't know about these monsters, though. So it's kind of cowboys and aliens, it looks like. But this might be kind of cool. We haven't really had a Wild West game in VR. NetEase Games, they're of course doing Nostos. Area of Darkness Sentinel. Remember this? Remember this was Nostradamus confirmed, brah. Because they had a date of April 11th. And we were doing this was on April 1st. You guys can go back to the April 1st show. And I was like, I have a tingly sensation running down my spine. My spider senses are tingling. There's no way in hell Area of Darkness Sentinel is coming out on April 11th. I knew it. And guess what? Like 2 days later, bam, they had to move it back. And so they're saying late April 2019. I have a feeling this is going to be moved back again, brah. I think this is going to, one of the things I said about this is why don't they just say it's coming summer? Say it's coming in summer. They could say it's coming in spring, and they get until June 21st on that. Powder VR, it's free, brah. So you can ski for free. That is pretty cool. Unearthing Mars. Unearthing Mars is still up in here. You know what's kind of interesting, guys? Look at Boneworks. Boneworks is up in here. And it's interesting where Boneworks is slotted in here. It's not on page 9 or something. It's slotted a little bit earlier. What does that mean? Does that mean on June 15th, when we all get our Valve indexes, Boneworks is going to be available the very same day? Probably not. Yeah, and now a lot of these, I'm looking at a lot of these logos, and I got to be honest with you guys, just looking at these logos, I'm like, I don't think any of these games are anything to worry about because none of these logos look very professional to me. Maybe this one, the Last Player VR Battle Royale, which I know they've had like betas and stuff, and people are in this and people are talking about it. There's a million of these games too. But I don't know. The shorts, the really short shorts, the John Stockton versions, not too bad there. So you can run around in really short shorts. Everybody wants to do that in a military sim. So that's kind of awesome. But yeah, Spectro. Spectro was a game I was hella hyped for. It still says spring. You know, somebody on the Vive subreddit was saying, is there any Ghostbuster games? There is. Spectro. Spectro is straight up Ghostbusters. Like, look at this. This is Luigi's Mansion VR. Luigi's Mansion VR by Borrowed Light Studios, coming in spring 2019. You know, what is spring to you, brah? Because that's June 21st. Like, we're running out of spring here, but this is Ghostbusters VR. Spectro. I'm looking forward to Spectro. I think it looks pretty tight. Dance Reality. We remember this one. Do you want to dance? I forget what the whole thing was, but yeah, don't you want to get your shake on? Don't you want to do the hustle with this lady right here? I mean, this is awesome. Look at this game. Look at that. That is so sweet. You got the red turtleneck. You know, a lot of stuff going on here. So Dance Reality is coming up too. We can't forget about that coming in May. So that is the banger of May. So anyway, yeah, I think it's always fun to kind of take a look at some of the weird games that are coming up on Steam. That's always an interesting thing to do. All right, guys. Well, I need to bounce the hell out of Dodge. Argambo. Spring is nebulous. Never heard that one before. Spring is nebulous. Hell yes. That is the title of the day. Spring is nebulous. All right, well, I need to bounce the hell out of Dodge, but the one thing I will tell you guys is make sure to hit the like button on your way out. It's kind of like what your mom says. Like, don't forget to turn out the lights. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell button. And don't forget to hit the PayPal donation button or the Patreon button. Yeah, it's like 5 buttons. I know it's a hell of a lot of buttons, but it's so fun. You gotta hit the buttons, you gotta caress them, and smash them bitches. So that's it for this particular episode of VR365. I will be back tomorrow, Friday, 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Pacific time on Friday, so a little bit earlier, folks. 1 p.m. Pacific. The other thing I'll say, no show on Saturday or Sunday. So VR 362 is pretty much what we're talking about here. VR 362, no show Saturday or Sunday. I will be back on Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific time on Monday. Some other exciting announcements, guys. Possibly some interviews are coming up in the not too distant future. So remember, Stonepunk Studios might have an interview with the prime developer of Stonepunk Studios in the not too distant future. Other interviews are in the works as well. I kind of like the interview shows. I think they're fun. So we're going to have some more interviews coming up, hopefully next week, the next weekend as well. So look forward to that. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I'll see everybody then. Have a wonderful day. Okay, now hopefully I can stop this freaking live stream and I don't have any weird YouTube weirdness, because I've been having a lot of weird YouTube weirdness. So I'm going to try to hit the stop button and hopefully it'll actually work. All right, guys, that'll do it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Take it easy. Later.